This is a 40-second clip. We're starting at about halfway, and I'm going to back it up just a little bit. He's at the end. He's saying, "Canada, you cutie." He's doing the wrap up. He's introducing Nickelback to end the show. That's what's happening here, and it's incredible. It's incredible. Listen to what he says. I almost can't believe it, except that here it is happening in real life, right in front of my face. Here we go.
You cutie. We're doing pretty okay as a country, you guys. We have probably minimal interference in our elections. We represented hard at the Oscars last night. Shout out to everything.
We're doing pretty okay as a country, everyone. And we probably have very minimal Chinese interference in our elections. What? It came up organically. I'm Chinese. The guy is actually Chinese. He's born in China. It says, this guy says, I don't know, Taiwan is the future of China, says this responder. And he says, this person was made in China. He was born in Harbin, Heligo Gang, China. I'm saying that terribly wrong, but this person says he was born in China, and now he's in Mississauga. He's from Mississauga now. So there you go. So we're doing pretty okay as a country, everyone. Barely any Chinese interference. Here's the Prime Minister in a clip, in a series of clips from between probably earlier than 2015. It looks like he's very young here, but it could be 2015. He looks like he's already in office there, so it could be 2015, 2016. This is from early in the prime ministership, but the clips where he's saying the Chinese greeting, whatever he's saying, there's a bearded one. There's one where he looks markedly older than now. It's a very interesting clip. Here we go. Here's Justin Trudeau saying Chinese greetings over and over. Here you go.
新年快乐.
That's New China.
Canadians want to be
2013.
Led, not ruled.
新年快乐.
But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
We are fed up with leaders who pit Canadians against Canadians.
新年快乐.
The small fringe minority, because I won't respond to anger with anger.
So why don't you settle down? This is a night for them, not for you.
新年快乐.
So the last one there was bearded Trudeau. I don't know. They reused the greeting a few times through there, but it's interesting. I think that it's interesting. I hadn't seen that before, but in context. And usually, you can dismiss that kind of stuff. Prime Minister doing Chinese New Year's greetings, Prime Minister doing Indian food or halal food promotion, you kind of shrug it off and think, well, that's kind of weird, right? I haven't seen Barack Obama endorsing tires or anything like that, but here we are, right? Trudeau doing, what was that food place that he endorsed? It was something Fine Foods, and I don't have time to look it up right now, but he did a whole video from the Prime Minister's office talking about how him and his friend, probably Mohammed, and they were so happy about the fine food, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember the name of it anyway. Here is Justin Trudeau answering questions and not telling the truth about things. Here's Justin Trudeau saying that he was never briefed about China. And right after is his aide saying that he was briefed multiple times between 2019 and 2021. So here is Trudeau lying. And this video focuses on Melanie Joly. To me, she doesn't give a lot away. She's looking around a little, but it could just be because the camera zoomed in so much. Here's Trudeau answering questions, being evasive, not telling the truth. Here we go.
To be clear, sir, you learned about all these allegations when Global News first reported it.
These media reports were things that we took seriously, and we asked our security officials to follow up on them, and we have asked them to give all information that they can, to share what they can with the parliamentary committee looking into it. But again, let me be very clear. I have no information, and I get briefed up regularly from our intelligence and security officials. I have no information on any federal candidates receiving money from China.
How many times was the Prime Minister briefed about Beijing's interference in the 2019 and 2021 elections?
The Prime Minister would have been briefed on foreign interference in the elections multiple times between 2019 and 2021 and 2022. We will endeavor to get you those dates.
I have no information, and I get briefed up regularly. You're a fool.
So I'll point this out. I think I figured out the reason why. This clearly is thin Trudeau body double. And obviously they briefed fat Trudeau, right? They briefed the Ukraine, the one wearing the Ukraine scarf, that one, fat one with the big jowls and the weird teeth, right? Obviously. So nobody's lying. This one didn't get briefed. The other one did. Sorry. That's tongue in cheek, everyone. Okay, Michael Cooper says the Liberals are dug in to continue the filibuster at PROC to avoid a vote on my motion to call Katie Telford to testify on Beijing's election interference. They're desperate to shield the chief of staff and continue to cover up what the prime minister knows. Right. Yeah, they are. They're desperate and they are continuing to filibuster. And it looks like it's going to be super effective. So this is Michael Cooper at 10 a.m. He's saying they've filibustered for 12 hours. And this is 10:43 a.m. And then 12 hours later, 10:10 p.m., he says 23 plus hours into the Liberal filibuster to shield Trudeau's chief of staff from testifying. They're determined to obstruct the committee's work to get to the bottom of Beijing's election interference. We're determined to get answers for Canadians. We'll see them next Tuesday. I really feel strongly that they need to move in a way that is putting pressure on the Liberals between filibuster sessions. If all that's happening is we get new news of a filibustered session, then that's not good. The Liberals are being effective at running out the clock and won't have to be held accountable or won't have to answer the questions that have been asked about what happened, getting to the bottom of it. So it is the responsibility of the Conservative Party of Canada to figure out a strategy to put pressure on the Liberals to answer these questions. It just is. That's politics. And and if it's me, it's not me though. But if it was me, I would be angling to put pressure on NDP voters. I'd be putting pressure on Jagmeet Singh for enabling this. I think I'd be playing with using the rhetoric around Chinese spies, Chinese agents, et cetera, and I'd be trying to turn the public into an echo chamber for that, an echo chamber. I'd be trying to get the public to echo that sentiment. I'd be trying to set the language on that, because what's happening is the radical left sets the language on everything. If you say, drag queen shows for kids, that's probably a bad idea. They say you are a right-wing extremist. They're left-wing extremists. So smile at them and say, well, I guess we disagree. You left-wing radical, right? I don't agree that sexualizing children is bad. It's unfortunate that you do, but one version of extremism in sexualizing children is not acceptable. And another version of extremism in protecting children is culturally acceptable, because that's what we've done for a very long time. They want to just smear people as right wing. I mean, jeepers creepers, let's dig in. Anyway, 23 hours into the Liberal filibuster to shield Trudeau's chief of staff from testifying, they're determined to obstruct the committee's work to get to the bottom of Beijing's electoral interference. We're determined to get answers. We'll see them next Tuesday. They need to put pressure on these people. They need to maintain pressure on these people. Here's Eva Chipik. She's the lawyer for the Freedom Convoy, and she says, it really begs the question, what does the Prime Minister have to hide? Telford is just the chief of staff to Justin Trudeau and served as his chief of staff, as his chief campaign advisor. What would she have to hide? Canada deserves better. And this is quotes from the article. It says, it's been now more than 14 hours over 4 days that the Liberals on this committee have been filibustering for hours and hours and hours on a very simple motion to have the Prime Minister's chief of staff, Katie Telford, testify before the committee. He said, Telford has appeared as a witness before parliamentary committees twice in the past. The first time was during the We Charity scandal, and the other time was to be questioned about sexual misconduct allegation involving Canada's former top soldier. What's the problem this time? And I'll show you, it's interesting. Here's Liberal MP and attack dog, Mark Gerritsen, explaining why they're filibustering. He says, we don't think Katie Telford should ever have to testify at Parliament or at a committee or whatever. We think that's not okay. But she's testified twice before, right? So inconsistent and bullshit excuse. Right now, because it has to do with China, we don't think it's appropriate. But the other time, yeah, that's fine. We scandal, yeah, no problem. Weird, right? Here's Mark Gerritsen.
Liberal members on this committee are filibustering this committee because we don't believe that the appropriateness of this of this motion, and that's why we're doing this, because we don't think it's right to be calling on staff, political staff, before committee. liberal.
Legit? I don't think so. Especially when there's recent precedent of having that specific staff come and testify about other scandals, and sexual harassment. Eva continues, she says, also important to look at the definition of filibuster and actions such as a prolonged speech that obstructs progress in a legislative assembly while not technically contravening the required procedures. Obstructs is the key word. Canada deserves better, right? And so why are the Liberals obstructing any kind of legitimate question, probe, any kind of real look into this Chinese interference in our elections? We all know the answer. Alan says, so Justin won't tell. He won't let Miss Telford tell what she knows about what he knew. He won't even tell us how much of our money his government is investing in battery and tire plants in central and eastern Canada. You'd think as Canadians we'd have a right to know this stuff. The Volkswagen battery plant was only landed by St. Thomas because of heavy government subsidy or investment, and nobody knows what the price tag is. So how much did those jobs cost is a big question. And so you'd think as Canadians we'd have a right to know this stuff. You would really think, but it's more and more hidden from us because who knows? Laura says, we were told that Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino is tasked with launching consultations on creating a foreign agent registry. You mean the MP who's been caught lying through his teeth at committee and threw his DM out in front like a human meat shield at the POEC? We will get a registry, but it should not be something Marco is in charge of. Has he been cleared as not being in receipt of funds from Beijing? Hard pass. Why is everybody calling it Beijing? Pierre Poilievre does that in his speech as well. Are people allergic to calling it Chinese Communist Party? Here's Laura. She continues. She says, here's me searching on Marco's account since he's been put in charge of launching consultations in order to create foreign agent registries. And I see him tweeting about this organization, Center Scene Quebec in Quebec. So I go to the account and it's closed, locked and cleaned out. And she wonders, why would an agency do that? So this is one of the accused operational Chinese police stations in Quebec. And Marco Mendicino has been pictured, right? Opening this and being closely tied to this. Laura continues. She says, I got curious and figured I might find an interesting tidbit on their website and found this with one of the center leads, Chi Li, with MP Han Dong be presenting an award. It's just a data point, but interesting considering the context lately. Small hint, eh? Right? So there's Han Dong receiving an award. Prominent Liberals in key ministries, Ahmed Hassan, Mary Ng, Marco Mendicino, even Trudeau himself, all piling in to honor this center in 2021. This is the Sino Quebec one. That's the Chinese police station. So that's interesting to me. 11 federal ministers and 35 federal MPs attended a New Year's rally via this center. This all goes back to why would a center shutter up its Twitter account if they're so key and pivotal? It's odd. A large diaspora in Brossard, Quebec, where the Sino Center is located, I see mentions of Chi in the write-up as well. So this is why a growing number of Asian candidates are running for office. Would you look at that? Chi has been in hot water in her own election activities. Coalition Brossard candidate ordered not to use the Election Quebec logo, right? So, and Mendicino and Chi go back a long way. So there's very interesting data points that could point to more people being compromised and directing or misdirecting this investigation. Here's Global News reporting Marco Mendicino announcing no foreign agent registry timeline as Australia warns of unprecedented interference. Perrin Beatty says it's hard to understand why this seems so difficult. Why would any Canadian oppose knowing if a foreign government was paying someone to influence Canada's policies? Let the sunshine in. No, they don't want to because it implicates them. Here is, Real Andy Lee says, Liberal MP Anita Vanderbilt performing incredible mental gymnastics in the PROC to protect her party on foreign election interference claims. States reports should say what the government knew, how they knew it, or who told them. This could put a lot of people in danger, she says. It's only a 1 minute long clip. It's very interesting, revealing that she's talking about how sunlight, being transparent about what happened, could put people in danger. Really? Do elaborate. But they won't. Here is that.
Process is perfect? No. And in fact, NCCOP itself has put together a number of recommendations over the years about how these processes can be improved. But the fact is, you have a place where you can ask those questions, where you can get the secret information, where somebody who comes to testify can actually offer what they know, can offer that secret information in an environment where even the opposition is present. And then that committee can make reports that are ultimately made public. That committee can make reports that will say, not, this is what the government knew and this is how they knew it and this is the person who told them and this is the, because this could put a lot of people in danger. But instead make reports that say, we've had access to the materials, the government gave us full access or didn't give us full access, the government acted or didn't act on the materials that it was given, and then make that available to the public. And in fact, what that does is it makes it so that you do have the incentives for the government to ensure that they are providing those materials. And this is a committee that is actually almost unique in the world.
So NCCOP has, I think, 5 Liberals, 1 NDP, maybe 2 CPC, and that's it. That's what the opposition being present means. Getting in on the committee is, I would imagine, not easy. You have to get your top secret clearance and so on and so forth. You have to get national security clearances and things like that. So just saying, well, you should go into NCCOP and then NCCOP should make things public. We have a crisis right now. It's like talking theoretically about the leak in your basement, right? Like, well, we should really get a good quote. We should talk to 5 or 6 plumbers, find out who the best is, average them, right? But like the basement's flooding. Like we need to get the Chinese communists out of the basement flood right now. The Chinese communists are flooding the basement and we need to stop that. And part of that is getting a plumber here ASAP. And these people are saying, let's get a committee together to talk about which of the 6 plumbers that have been shortlisted we're going to call and see if they can come out and fix our problem as the water rises, right? And that's exactly what we're doing. We're sitting here doing nothing while Chinese communists are covering up their corruption and their crimes with our tax dollars paying for it, basically. GM Forbes says she means investigating Chinese interference will put liberals on hold on power in danger. That's all they care about. Meanwhile, their continued cover-ups put Chinese Canadians in real danger of abuse, bullying, and intimidation. Sure. Yeah, people are gonna blame everybody. It's going to be a witch hunt, something like that. But the powers that be want racial tension, so they're gleeful. This is a happy byproduct of that. Here is Pierre Poilievre. Look at, Greg pointed this out. He said, Jeepers Creepers, look at the swallow when asked this question. He looks nervous. Does he make a good argument here? Government.exe is corrupt, says leaked CSIS documents show Chinese Communist Party interference helped elect Justin Trudeau. Do you trust the election process and do you feel Justin Trudeau is a legitimate prime minister? Pierre Poilievre responds. Here's that.
How concerned are you by recent polls that show that many Conservative supporters believe the electoral system isn't fair or even? Angus Reid's findings suggested that some feel the election was even stolen. Why do you think that Conservative supporters are more concerned about this than others?
Well, I think Justin Trudeau has inspired a lot of suspicion by his refusal to, 1, answer questions about his knowledge of Beijing's interference to help him in 2 successive elections. Leaked CSIS and PCO documents now show that Beijing worked to help elect Justin Trudeau. That is an accepted fact. He doesn't even deny it. But he kept it hidden until courageous whistleblowers at CSIS released it for him. And now he refuses a public inquiry. I think Canadians of all political backgrounds are asking, what has Justin Trudeau got to hide? And further,
well, I mean, I think the question is obvious. Chinese interference, Chinese influence is what he's got to hide. CBC News says Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said Tuesday the Liberal government's inaction on alleged election meddling by China has some Canadian voters wondering whether recent election results can be trusted. Yeah, it's obvious that people are concerned about our election. And I think that with the amount of reports of interference and Chinese influence, I think anybody is right to have that kind of concern. This article just talks about the special rapporteur, and it goes through what we know now. And what we know now is basically that Justin's not going to do anything. This is funny. Poll suggests most Canadians trust election results, want an interference inquiry. Okay, so here's what CBC is reporting. This is yesterday at 6:15 p.m. New polling suggests the majority of Canadians want the federal government to call an independent inquiry. The independent inquiry is garbage. It's a blue-pilled fight. It would be no more effective than Rouleau was for getting true justice for the emergency invocation, the Emergency Act invocation. So an inquiry is bullshit. If that's what the government decides on, they're not. I mean, we already know they're not working for us. I would bet the over-under would be better for an inquiry than anything else, but that's what it's kabuki theater to look like, oh no, people want an inquiry. They don't want an inquiry. People want this government to fall, because an inquiry by Chinese communists of Chinese communists will come up smelling like roses. They'd say everything's great. How's your ESG scores? Anyway. New polling suggests the majority of Canadians want the federal government to call an inquiry, bullshit, into foreign interference in the last 2 elections, but still feel the country's electoral system is safe. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Market research firm Ledger surveyed 1,544 people between March 10th and 12th, asking a range of questions about Canada's electoral system and allegations of foreign interference. The results suggest 71% of Canadians feel the electoral system is safe, while 29% feel it is not. Okay. Bullshit. Excuse my French. Here is bushels per acre. He surveyed 1,307 people. He says apparently 71% of people feel Canada elections are safe, according to an online poll of 1,544 people. So let's find out. Do you feel Canadian elections are safe? 94.8% say no, they are not safe. 1.3% says yes, they're safe. And 3.9% says they're unsure. Here's another poll of 1,357 people. And this is government.exe. He says, as a Canadian, do you trust the election process and results? Yes, 4.6%. No, 95.4%. People don't believe it. CTV News is lying to you. Do you believe CTV News? Here's CPAC, and it's quoting Trudeau. We're working to appoint a special rapporteur. They're asking about timelines. There is no timeline. Timeline. How long until you forget, says Trudeau. Phoenix pay system is going to work super quick. He's going to give it his personal attention. This is what he said in 2015. Phoenix pay still doesn't work. Here we go.
Prime Minister, can you give us an update on when a decision will be made regarding the rapporteur?
We know how important it is for Canadians to have confidence in our system and to have the right independent expert reassuring of that, because it's not about what one political party says or another. It's about making sure that experts are stepping up to reinforce the integrity of our democratic processes. We are working to appoint that special rapporteur, that special independent expert in the coming days or week.
The special independent expert on Chinese interference in Canadian elections. Yeah, we can't just trust, one party or another. We have to trust the specially hand-selected special rapporteur that Justin Trudeau selected. That's going to be totally nonpartisan. Trust me. All right. I wonder what shortlist Trudeau will go to look for the special investigative expertise he needs. Maybe it'll be his donor list, right? His donor list where everybody made near top max donations. And I mean, who cares if it was a little bit off due to currency exchange from yuan to the Canadian dollar, right? Close to max donations, whatever. Maybe he'll choose Kenyi Kwan or Kenyi Kwok. Andy Lee says, this is nice. One of Trudeau's top donors, Ken Kwok, Ken spelled with a U before the E, was accused of defrauding immigrants. In 2 lawsuits, there was allegations that Ken Kwok, a self-described prominent businessman and director of several companies, defrauded her out of more than $200,000 in connection with a bid to immigrate to Canada. So it's very lucrative if you have access to a way to immigrate to Canada, right? Here is another one of Trudeau's acolytes, somebody who is a booster for Trudeau in different ways, Wei Ching-yi. And he responds to allegations on the role in 2019 elections. Basically, he says they're all false. They have no impact. He does point by point on why. The third point, he says, the people who involved me in the so-called interference in the 2019 and 2022 federal elections either had ulterior motives or simply did not understand the situation of the Chinese community and wanted to stigmatize me. After the second half of 2018, I had basically no contact with the Chinese consulate in Toronto. So he's saying, I'm innocent. And then the sixth point, he says, I'm a businessman who's more interested in doing business than anything else. So, you know, the more you say, no, not me, the more I have questions. And I mean, not just this one guy, not just Kwok or any of the other individuals named, Chi or any of the other ones. I have questions around where there's all of this smoke in different little fires. There's probably a Chinese Communist Party happening just under the surface. And we're not being told about it, just like we weren't being told about Trudeau's being briefed about Chinese interference in our elections, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, I was never briefed about China giving candidates money, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Absolute nonsense. Oh, right. It was the fat one. Right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching. Check out CanadaPoly.com or CanadaPoly2.locals.com for full episodes of Canada Poly Daily, looking at Canadian politics from a Canadian point of view. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful